Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're not just talking about English, we're really unlocking something powerful, making truly impactful first impressions.
Yeah.
You know, with your introductions and greetings.
Yeah, think of it like your professional front door.
Exactly. How you open it just sets the tone for, well, everything that follows.
It really does. And what's fascinating, I think, is how these interactions, they seem so simple, right? But they're actually profoundly foundational. It goes way beyond just politeness. They immediately signal respect, sure, but also your confidence, your attention to detail, even like your cultural smarts.
Okay.
So our mission today is to kind of move past the absolute basics and really give you, our listener, those deeper insights and the right language to, well, nail any business introduction.
Right.
We're digging into our source, business English, mastering introductions and greetings to make sure you can walk into any room, virtual or, physical, ready to connect.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because there really is an art, maybe even a bit of a science, to that first hello. It can totally set the path for a new connection or even a new job. Definitely more than just saying the words, isn't it? It's the feeling you leave behind.
Absolutely. That impact, it sticks around long after you finish speaking, and there's some, psychology behind that.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, things like the primacy effect, basically. The first thing we learn about someone, that tends to stick the most.
Right, I've heard of that.
And then there's the halo effect. If that first impression is good, we kind of see everything else they do in a better light.
Yeah, okay. So it makes sense.
So yeah, first impressions in business, they're not just nice to haves, they're actually strategic communication.
Yeah.
You're kind of using these psychological quirks to your advantage.
That's where it gets really interesting. So you're not just being friendly, you're actually like actively shaping how people see you. So what's the first step in doing that strategically?
It really starts with understanding the context.
Wow.
Reading the room and then choosing the right level of formality or register.
Okay.
A polite greeting, fundamentally, shows respect and confidence. But what counts as polite can change a lot depending on where you are and who you're talking to.
Right.
Think of it like a dial. You might be in a really formal situation, maybe a first meeting with a big potential client that needs one approach.
Like, good morning. My name is Alicia Sharma. It's a distinct pleasure to meet you.
Using something like distinct pleasure to kind of dial it up a notch.
Exactly. That little word choice adds weight. But then maybe later or in a team meeting, that dial shifts way down.
Yeah.
And a simple, friendly, hi, I'm Lee is totally fine. Perfect even.
Got it.
So if you zoom out, you're not just saying your name. You're strategically placing yourself, adapting your professional vibe based on the situation. I can see how having those different tools in your communication kit is just vital. Okay, let's get into those scenarios. Imagine you're walking into a new office, first day, or maybe a big industry conference. You need to make a strong start. How do you make that formal introduction confidently without sounding, robotic or nervous?
Right. This is where knowing the structure helps, but it's more than just reciting it. The basic formal intro is greeting, full name, polite phrase, simple.
Okay.
But the mastery comes in picking the right polite phrase for the moment and really meaning it, the intent behind it.
So it's not just a formula, it's like assembling it deliberately for effect. Okay, let's try it. I'll go first. Good morning. My name is Rafiq Ahmed.
And I might reply, hello, Mr. Ahmed. I'm Nusrat Khan. It's a pleasure to meet you. Now, you used distinct pleasure earlier, which is a bit more formal. We could even go further, maybe delighted to make your acquaintance. That's very formal, maybe for like meeting someone quite senior or in a very traditional setting.
Okay, probably not for everyday use then.
Probably not. Or you could just say, good to meet you. Still polite, but a touch less formal than it's a pleasure. The key is knowing which one fits.
That brings up something interesting. When would you actually use titles like Mr. or Ims? And what about that phrase, may I introduce Mr. Ali? That feels, well, pretty formal.
It definitely signals a higher level of formality, yeah. Using titles and may I introduce isn't just about being polite, it can be strategic.
How so?
Well, in some cultures, hierarchy is really important, so using titles shows respect. Or maybe you want to emphasize the importance of the person you're introducing.
Okay.
Sometimes it's used when introducing someone senior to someone junior, kind of a subtle cue. It's a specific tool, maybe less common in, say, a typical US or UK office now, but still useful sometimes.
So it's about knowing your audience and the message you want to send. Okay, but let's shift gears. What about after that first formal bit? Or maybe you're just in a more relaxed office setting, team lunch, coffee break, whatever. How do you keep it friendly but still professional? You don't want to sound stiff, but maybe not too casual either.
Yeah, finding that balance. The good thing about informal greetings is they're usually pretty simple and direct, but you still need that awareness of the situation.
Right.
You can just say, "Hi, I'm 𝗬𝗏𝗏." Easy. But even before you say that, you're kind of scanning the room, right?
Reading the vibes.
Exactly. Are people using first names? Is the mood light? How are people dressed? Those little clues tell you if you can dial down the formality.
Yeah, that's a great point about reading the room. It's not just the words, it's knowing when to use them. Okay, let's try that.
Hi, I'm 𝗬𝗏𝗏.
Nice to meet you, 𝗬𝗏𝗏. I'm Rafiq. So how long have you been with the company? See, adding that follow-up question makes it feel more like a real conversation starting.
Definitely. And notice, usually just first names are fine here. Titles are generally dropped.
Yeah, makes sense.
And crucially, when someone says, "Nice to meet you," don't just say it back. Remember the "to."
Yes. Nice to meet you too.
Exactly. That little word, "to," it confirms you feel the same way. It kind of closes the loop, makes the other person feel heard.
That makes a lot of sense. It does feel more complete. Okay, but sometimes you're not introducing yourself. You're the one connecting other people.
The matchmaker.
Yeah. How do you do that gracefully? Introduce two people so they both feel comfortable, acknowledged, and maybe even give them something to talk about.
Yeah, that's a really valuable skill. The goal isn't just names, it's sparking a connection. Key phrases are often, "this is," or, more formally, "may I introduce?"
Okay.
But the real trick is adding a little context. You're basically handing them a conversation starter on a plate.
Got it. So formally, you might include their role. Like, may I introduce Maria Diaz? She's our sales manager for Europe, and she's been doing amazing work on our recent market expansion, something like that.
Perfect. That bit about market expansion gives the other person something concrete to ask about. Or less formally, maybe. "This is my new assistant, Levi. He just joined from the XYZ project, and he's already digging into our data analytics." Again, you've given them a hook.
Right, a starting point. Let's try a quick role play. I'll introduce you. Nusrat, I'd like you to meet Edward. Edward, Nusrat, and I are working together on the new AI integration project. She's the lead architect on it.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Edward. Rafiq's mentioned your work on optimizing our cloud systems.
Slightly different tone. Likewise, Nusrat, great to meet you. That AI integration sounds fascinating. I'd love to hear more about your approach.
See, as the introducer, you didn't just swap names, you gave strategic context. You provided common ground, a specific topic, making it easy for them to start talking.
Yeah, it really smooths the way. You're like a social bridge builder. Okay, now, even with simple stuff, it's easy to make little slips, especially in a second language. And sometimes these aren't just tiny mistakes. They can actually affect how fluent or professional you sound, right?
They really can, yeah. Even small things. One really common one is dropping the "to." You hear people say, "Hello, Sam, nice to meet you."
Yeah, I've heard that.
And while you understand what they mean, it immediately sounds, well, not quite right. It flags you as non-native, even if your English is generally great.
And the correct way, sounding much smoother, is, "Hello, Sam. Nice to meet you." That tiny "to" makes a big difference. It shows you've got a handle on the standard phrasing.
Exactly. Another one is word order. Sometimes you hear things like, "To meet you, it's a pleasure."
Sounds a bit Yoda-like.
Yeah, exactly. It feels unnatural, probably a direct translation thing.
Whereas the smooth standard way is, "It's a pleasure to meet you." So this raises a question. Why do these tiny details matter so much? If people understand you, isn't that enough?
It's about more than just basic understanding. It's about perceived fluency and ease. When you use these phrases correctly, effortlessly, it builds trust. People feel more confident in your communication skills overall.
Right.
These small errors, even if minor, they create little bumps in the road. Tiny bits of friction that can distract from your message or make you seem less confident than you are. It's about removing those little distractions.
So it's about making the communication as smooth as possible, letting your actual message shine through.
Okay, so you, the listener, you've taken all this in. Now let's actually try to put it into practice. This isn't just about memorizing. It's about making these patterns feel natural. Think of it as a mental workout.
That's right. We want you to really feel these phrases becoming part of how you speak naturally. It's about building that muscle memory, but for a conversation. So we'll give you a situation and maybe just take a second to think how you'd respond before we suggest something.
Okay, good idea. First up, you're at a formal business lunch, meeting a potential investor. First time. How do you introduce yourself? Short pause. Okay, maybe something like, "Good morning, my name is Rafiq Ahmed. It's truly a pleasure to meet you." using that slightly stronger phrase. Truly a pleasure.
Nice. Okay, next one. You're joining a new project team meeting. It's a bit more relaxed. You're meeting a colleague for the first time. Your intro, short pause. You could say something like, "Hi, everyone. I'm Nusrat Khan. Great to meet you all. Really excited to dive into this project." Adding that bit of enthusiasm helps. Perfect. Okay, last one for now. Someone's just been introduced to you and they say, "Nice to meet you." How do you respond naturally? Maybe make it a bit warmer, short pause. A good way could be, "Nice to meet you too. I've actually heard good things about your work on the Miller account." If you know something specific, adding that shows you're engaged.
Great job. And remember, practicing deliberately, thinking about why you're choosing certain words for that context, that's how you build real confidence and make it sound natural. Don't be shy about saying these out loud, even to yourself.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the words, but what about everything else? Introductions are way more than just language, aren't they? There's that whole cultural layer.
Oh, absolutely. The cultural piece is huge. You can have perfect English, but if you miss the nonverbal cues, it can still go wrong.
How so?
Well, take a handshake, common in many English-speaking business cultures, right? Firm grip, eye contact. But that's not universal. In parts of East Asia, a slight bow might be more appropriate, maybe with or instead of a handshake. And too much direct eye contact could even feel aggressive there, not confident. Or personal space. In the US or UK, people tend to stand a bit further apart. In some Latin American or Middle Eastern cultures, getting a bit closer can signal warmth. Misjudge that and it feels awkward, even if you said everything right.
That's a massive point. A cultural misstep could totally derail things. What about within, say, typical English-speaking offices? Are there still nuances even with something like a handshake?
Oh, for sure. Even there. A firm, friendly handshake is generally the standard, but firm is subjective, isn't it?
Yeah. The dead fish versus the bone crusher.
Exactly. Too weak feels unconfident. Too strong feels aggressive. How long you hold it, how much eye contact you make during the shake. These are all subtle signals.
So you need to be observant.
Definitely. Watch what others do first if you're unsure. Are people actually shaking hands or is it more nods and smiles? Being adaptable is really key.
So it's the whole package. The words, the body language, the awareness of space, eye contact. It all has to work together and fit the culture.
Precisely. And what's fascinating is you can nail the grammar, the vocabulary, everything. But if you make a cultural blunder, it creates this invisible barrier. It can undermine your whole message without you even realizing it. Understanding these nuances isn't just about being polite. It's about effective communication, period. Building real connection.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive. We've really looked at the power of first impressions, going beyond just saying hello to the strategy and psychology behind it. We've walked through how to handle self-introductions, formally and informally, how to introduce others smoothly with that crucial context, and how to avoid those common little language traps.
And we really highlighted those key takeaways. Think about your purpose when you introduce yourself. Use phrases like, "Good morning, my name is," for those formal moments.
Or a quick, "Hi, I'm," when it's more casual.
Exactly. And never forget that essential response. "Nice to meet you too." This is like you mean it.
We've really emphasized that getting it right isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about precision, understanding the nuances, and having that cultural intelligence. So keep practicing these skills, not just the phrases, but the thinking behind them.
Yeah, the more you apply these ideas, the more natural and impactful you'll become.
So here's something to think about. How can mastering these initial interactions do more than just build relationships? How could it genuinely influence your career path, your leadership potential, your ability to really build trust and influence? How will you make your next first impression not just good, but actually memorable and strategically effective?
Something to ponder.
That's all for this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.